Welcome to the Digital Marketing Insights Podcast, brought to you by Brightside Digital.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm delighted to say we have Austine with us, who's an SEO consultant and someone that's vastly experienced in the SEO space. How you doing, Austine?
Hey Tom, I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Yeah, having a good day. Austine, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your career to date, please?
Sure. So I'm an SEO consultant. I've been in SEO for almost 15 years now. Not quite. I think it's like 13 and a half, going on 14. I've carried out SEO, both client-side SEO, client-side, agency side, as well as a consultant, freelancer. And I've covered all areas of SEO: on page, off page, technical. I'm one of those old school SEOs who stick with the three pillars of SEO, and have data within the three pillars. There are some SEOs who say there's a fourth pillar, which is data as a standalone pillar. Either or, I'm just old school like that. So I've covered SEO across all areas. I find that the SEO that's needed is very much dependent on where a business is within their SEO journey. So I would say I cover SEO within a business rather than trying to fit a business within SEO, if that makes sense. And I say that to say, because of that, I've covered SEO across a wide variety of industries. For the last, I would say, 3 years or so, I've been focused on technical SEO, but now I'm pretty much going to focus. I reckon it will be the rest of my career on branded SERPs optimization, because this is where I believe optimization, SEO, and search is headed.
Brilliant. Yeah, so we'll touch on most of those areas, but let's touch on what you just finished with there. So branded SEO, you told me before the show your inspiration before going into that area, but why do you think branded SEO is going to become such a big focal point in digital?
Well, I've been studying from Jason Barnard for the last several months now. And what he is saying, so he is the godfather of branded SERP optimization. And everything that I've studied from him, it just makes perfect sense and gels in nicely with a belief that I've had for 5+ years, maybe even longer than that. I believe that SEO, search, and social media, they share the same space, the same audience, and there is a search element within social media platforms. Now, the way social media platforms acquire information is different to the way Google does, and I believe Google's method is out of date, and they realize that, and they need to make a change ASAP, which is why we have SGE, which is coming in, I believe, a matter of months. So Google's way of acquiring information is for them to go out and seek information. Think of their web index. Think of the left-hand rail of the SERPs, right? It's very much focused on recommendations, Google's recommendations on things. In order for them to have that recommendations, they need to acquire the recommendations in the first place. So they need to, their entire information retrieval system, crawling, indexing, ranking, all of that is out of date compared to the way social media acquires information. Social media receives information. So users input their data, and based on that data, the platforms are then able to service users who search for things. Think of TikTok. TikTok has a search element which they are heavily promoting, and they've been promoting it for I first noticed it about a year or two, no, maybe 18 months ago. I saw there was a search element on there, and they're promoting people to search for certain things, and it got me thinking: are they going after the search space? I believe they are. They want people to search for information, again, that they receive from users of the platform. And because of the way they are servicing information, they are also training users, but which once again share the same user data set as search and social. So they're training users to have a certain expectation of what they search for. Think of content, right? For years, SEOs would have said content was text. It was text. Think of search in the very early days. It was all text based, right? Now it's changed to video. Video is now the dominant format for content. And I believe this is because of social media. And I believe TikTok, being the leading platform, are servicing users to expect to receive information in video format, content in video format, whether it's long form, mid, or short form. They want to find information as quickly as possible with a video. This is what I think they will expect from Google when they search. I believe Google is aware of this, and they seem to be making changes to cater for the way users are increasingly expecting information to be served to them. Let's think of the way. Let's think of. I had an example which is it's just left my mind right now. Oh, never mind. I'm sure it will come back to me.
No
But
worries. Yeah.
all of these changes, I think, it being influenced by social media is what's leading Google to change the way they're presenting the SERPs. The 10 blue links are dying out. It's only in a matter of time before they're completely gone. Universal result is now going to be the norm. I think the left-hand rail, the recommendations that Google provide, I reckon that's going to be used to feed SGE and perspectives, and a more dynamic way of users being fed the information that they seek. Think of top line level keywords, informational based keywords. There is no need to click on a website, look at all the different elements on the site, just to find the specific information that you want. This is why passage indexing was very popular for Google, which is why they had to release it, in my opinion. Um, all of that, all of the way that users used to search for information on Google is very outdated and not succinct enough. It doesn't take care of the speed. SGE is designed to take care of some of that heavy lifting. Literally, Google say it themselves. They are looking to take some of the heavy lifting of research phase. So users don't have to land on the site, see if they can find what they're looking for as quickly as possible, go back into Google, check another site. All of this is time consuming. So SGE is designed to provide all of that information for users as succinctly as possible. Now, in this presents not a problem, but I would say an opportunity for SEOs to change the way they are providing information to Google. The web index is an area that the 10 blue links is an area that I think is going to be used to feed into SGE. But a more important element of the SERPs is going to be the right hand rail, knowledge panel. The goal I believe for SEOs is to have websites, brands, entities within Google's knowledge vault. This is ultimately where they want to go. The knowledge vault is Google's version of receiving information. I like social media platforms. The web index is outdated. It's till this day, I think we're still going to have it around. The 10 blue links will still be around, depending on the market, Google's market, how dominant they are in the market, and also the queries. So the richer the query, the more data set Google has around the query, the less 10 blue links we're going to see, the more we're going to see SGE. For queries that Google doesn't quite have enough data set around, I think those 10 blue links will still be there, or up to 10. But eventually, all of that will die out. But that's some time away. The key for SEOs now is to focus less on rankings in the traditional sense, and focus more on ensuring that Google is aware of our entities, all of our entities that we target, from the brand all the way to what would be the equivalent of generic keywords.
Like I think you've hit the nail on the head, and you're obviously more versed than I am in the developments of Google, and I think that's a really interesting point that you've made about how they can adapt. But one thing's for sure is branding will become the norm, because everything around us, if you look, it's going to take time for the adoptions to happen, but your Alexa or all these equivalents, your Google Homes built in, so the audio devices, the smart watches, and the search via motor vehicles and things like that. Everything is positioning itself to be either an audio or a video search. And if you think audio, if you think hairdresser near me as a query, as like one of these informative queries that you're doing, previously you would do that in a search and it would show 10 blue links as you described them. But now that will change from an audio point of view. It's not going to give you 10 suggestions. It's only going to give you one, the branded one in that area. It's a big challenge for Google to get the local search right for that sort of thing. But like you say, that's where SEOs really come into their own and brand. And that whole point supports your development of how Google is going to evolve. I suppose we'll change the format of the show a little bit in terms of the questions I'll give you, Austine, because I think you can give a lot of value to SEOs that might want to listen to this from a certain point. But right now, I want you to tell what you think are the results right now in SEO, and then separately how you plan to future-proof a business or a brand with what you believe the developments will be.
Sure. So right now we still have a mixture of 10 blue links and universal results. Universal results, if you like, trump the 10 blue links when Google believes there is more value to have a more dynamic SERP. In terms of where I think it's going and what SEOs can do to future-proof it, I believe the 10 blue links are going to be used to, as I said, help Google identify the facts about a brand. I think everything is going to be led by the brand. Social media search on social media, I should say, is led by the brand. If you think of any creator on social media, it's a person, it's a brand, right? An entity is a name, place, or thing. From a social media point of view, a name being a person, a creator, that is a form of a brand. If we were to transpose that into SEO, that would be the equivalent of our branded set of keywords. Think of Logan Paul. He is a brand, right? Now, social media, they are brand led. And I believe because of the way people are searching on social media, it's influencing what Google is presenting to their users. Again, the same set of users, right, on social and search. So I think Google's going to be more branded focused. In order for them to serve users with information from a brand, they need to understand the brand, i.e., know the facts about the brand. This is where I mentioned the way they acquire information needs to change. Think of, let's stick with a brand as the entity, right? On social media, a brand will input their details onto the platform. So the platform receives the information and they know the fact, just like that. On search, it's more of a case of Google having to find the facts about the brand. Traditionally, this has been with the web index. Used to be the biggest indexing or type of indexing. Google has others. Think of images, Google Maps, which is actually the biggest one so far. But the web index is full of information. It's got amazing data set, but it's full of a lot of crap. If you've ever scrolled past page 1 for a query that you've searched, you'll see Google doesn't actually know their recommendations aren't actually as helpful as you would think they are if you're stuck on page one. But all of this means, in order for them to know the facts about a brand, we SEOs need to encourage brands to provide the facts about a brand to Google. And this is where getting into the knowledge vault is key. It's the equivalent of social media platforms. So, and to elaborate a bit on that, in order for us SEOs to provide that information to Google, we also need to know the facts about a brand. Now, I'm using a brand as one example. This is what we'll have to do for all entities: name, place, or thing. We'll have to know what the brand is, what the brand does, and which audience the brand services. Those are the three key things that we'll need to establish. Now, if I were to ask about, let's say, what is Apple, right? We know what Apple is, but in terms, if we were to describe it, we'll need to actually think about it. What is Apple? What is, so we'll have to sit down and think, okay, can we can we succinctly describe what Apple is? If we can't, and we are the SEO of working on Apple, this is something we'll need to identify. If we cannot describe it in a sentence or two, it's going to be difficult for Google to establish what it is, considering the web index is full of an unlimited amount of descriptions about or of Apple, right? So if they were to stick with the web index and try to garner the facts from the web index, it's going to be a mess, and they're not going to be confident about what they're seeing. We need to provide Google with that confidence.
Yeah, like that's wonderfully put. And what's your knowledge on the Google Vault setup being created now? How far in development do you think this has gone?
So a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Sorry, I'm a Star Wars fan, so I couldn't help myself.
No worries.
their their knowledge vault used to be filled with initial, should I say, seeds data set websites: Wikipedia, Firebase, Wikidata, and there's one IMDb. Those four were huge for Google. They are now, and so those were, I would say, the four seed sets. A fifth one would actually be from Google themselves, um, Google Maps. That's why I say it's actually their biggest type of index right now. So those were their initial seeds. They are moving seeds to get the fact about entities. Now they are moving away from those initial sets and more focusing on websites that they have confidence in to provide them with the facts. The reason they're doing this, let's stick with Wikipedia as an example. Every SEO knows you search for something, Wikipedia most likely comes up, right? And that was just an illustration of how much Google had confidence in Wikipedia. The issue with Wikipedia nowadays is that it's still, and has always been, a generalist site. IMDb is slightly different because it's very specific to a niche, to an industry. But what Google wants to do is find, if you like, the Wikipedia of all industries. This is what SEOs will need to establish. Can we provide Google with enough confidence where they see us, the websites that we're working on, as the Wikipedia of that industry? That is the key. And that is, again, where branding comes into it, and why we'll need to shift our focus from keywords, clusters of keywords. All of that will slowly fade out, and entities will be the focus,
Wow.
beginning
Wow.
with the brand.
Yeah, that's huge. And like in terms of your own work, what are you doing now in prep for your clients in your work? What areas would you recommend listeners to double down on right now?
So I would suggest every SEO, without fail, and I'm just going to have a plug here. Check out Jason Barnard's book, on branded SERPs. I would say that's fundamental to understanding where Google is headed. In terms of prepping clients, once SEO are aware of the changes that I believe are upcoming, we'll have to go through an educational phase. If you have clients that still think SEO is all about keywords, rankings, and links, they're very much outdated. So this educational phase um, will have to be gradual. It will have to evolve. Ideally, it will have to evolve. It shouldn't be revolutionary, because that is a big think of it as a big jump for business leaders, right? It's not something that they will necessarily care about, but they'll need to understand it over the course of months. We still have time. SGE, for example, isn't rolled out. I think SGE will be the marking point once it's rolled out globally. Will be the marking point. Like, okay, we're now in the new phase. So I would suggest that. I've been spending a lot of time on my site. This is something, as a consultant, I pretty much put it on the back burner up until maybe a few months ago. And I'm now spending a lot of time on it, ensuring that it's as future proof as possible. And I started that with the brand. So I think, well, the key for SEOs will be to upskill themselves, and then provide an educational, if you like, phase to their clients, stakeholders, and business leaders for SEOs who are client side.
Love it, Austine. And Austine, I'm only going to ask you the last question of the show, which is a nice summary of understanding yourself. But if you could bottle up one personality trait that you have yourself that you could pass on to, let's say, fellow SEOs, what would it be?
I would suggest, for me, I am very curious as an SEO. I see SEO as optimization, not for search engines, but for users. And fundamentally, optimization is improvement, right? All you want to do is improve upon something, whether it's whether it's a huge leap or small iterations. The goal is to improve, and that requires one to stay curious, to have an SEO mindset. So I would say, yes, stay curious. The changes that are upcoming, I'm sure we'll have a lot of information around SEO is dead type of content. It's not dead. It's just evolving. It's expanding. It's getting more comprehensive. It's getting more comprehensive for the better. So stay curious. Things are good. Things are going to get better.
Yeah, love that. And Austine, if anyone wanted to touch base with you, find you online, how can they find you?
So you can check me out on LinkedIn. I'm not much on social media, but LinkedIn is my jam. Check out Democratizing SEO on YouTube, and you can also Google it for the podcast.
Love it. I'll tag you in all. Austine, thanks so much for doing the show. Thanks everyone for watching, listening, and everything else. Hope you loved this one.
Thank you. Cheers.